So I filmed yesterday this whole entire talking part, and last night I went to edit and I noticed that my camera audio wasn't working properly. I don't exactly know why. So hopefully, crossing my fingers today, this is gonna work. So I'm gonna have to go over this whole story again and tell you what's been going on the last couple days and some of the things that have changed as far as the golf course plan and sort of what I'm thinking at the moment, which could be a fluid change again. I just don't know right at this point. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's get into it. Standing behind me is where I had planned to put the golf green out front. So I thought this would be a good spot here down at the bottom of the hill, because then you can put tee boxes on both sides, varying distances, you can get a lot of different things going on, and you're just shooting down into one golf green. That seemed like a good idea until the spring that I came out here and I started mowing a section just to see kind of the size of what I wanted to go with for the green, and also shape and start to get a feel for what it's going to look like. I quickly noticed that there was a lot of slope down here, and sometimes you look at something and you can definitely tell there's a lot of slope, but until you get a laser out and check and see exactly how much slope there is, you don't know for sure. So a friend of mine came over, we put a laser on this, and we were at about a 6% slope. So way too much for any type of golf green that you're gonna actually be able to hold the ball onto when you hit it onto there. Everything that starts down there would just completely run to the bottom on this side, and so that wasn't going to work. I went over a few different ideas, maybe possibly changing this whole grade out here about halfway up the hill and reshaping and doing all that stuff, but I just decided I don't really want to do that large of a project right now. I didn't want to all this work last year of putting in grass, although there's a story about that coming up in a video too, but I just didn't want to redo all that stuff. So I said, maybe I can just work with what I have here and move some things around and make that work. So I thought maybe I'll shift this back a little bit. There was a section here of some junky trees, and I don't love taking out any trees of any kind, no matter what they are, just because obviously you can't get them to grow back quickly if you just decide, oh, I wish I still had something in this section. But there was thorny locust in there and some other just invasive things that I really needed to get rid of and plant some good trees down here anyway. So a friend came over, started removing those trees, and the plan was to try to regrade this area right here to see if I could get it flat enough and to see if there would be enough space up here that we could flatten out and make a green out of that. So we basically ran into some kind of sand pocket inside of this hill, and that wasn't going to be the hugest deal because I needed to also get some topsoil and put probably at least a foot on top of everything to grow in the green and to grow in good grass on. So we pulled as much soil as we possibly could from that bottom up to the top side here. Still not absolutely flat, and then you've got pretty big slope on the back side of the hill, which I'll show you on camera. I'm not sure how well that will translate, but at least you get a sense of now there's definitely almost like a shelf up here. We pretty much ran out of soil at that point. Kind of laid things out here with some stakes, and we put the laser back on it, and down in this corner I still need 2 feet more of fill, so I need 24 more inches down here, and then by the time you add that, you're gonna have to taper it back out. I just ran into a situation where I just don't have any more soil here, and I could either go source some from somewhere back in the property, which I could definitely do, but then I have to find a way to transport it up here. So I ran into some complications at that point, and I had to think for a second, is this really just trying to put this in a spot where it doesn't belong? Pretty much stopped at that point and decided to think on it a bit more before we try to do anything else, and there'd have to be a bit of a swale put in up here in front of the green, so that's going to tear out some things and some of the grass. And before I did any of that, I wanted to make sure 100% that I wanted to damage that grass that I've already seeded here. So right before my friend was about to leave for the day, we were walking around the plots just looking at a few different things and stumbled upon this ryegrass plot that I'm on right now, which you guys have seen before. And he said, what if you just made this the green? It's pretty much already the right shape. I do have irrigation in down here. There's just a couple things in the way, which of course is the well over there and my electrical box. So those things make it a pretty tight approach into here. But as far as the green size goes, it's actually about 3,000 square feet right on the dot. And so last night we played it, Played about probably 14 holes or so, I would say. All the way from varying distances up there, hitting down into here. Some of them you can go for it. I think the farthest one is about 225 now. So you can try to hit down into here if you're brave enough, or otherwise you can lay up at that little spot up there on that little shelf area and then hit it down into here at right at about 90 yards. That actually works really well. The issue, like I said, is just that the actual spot there at the front is just not a lot of space to get the ball in here, and then I've got all of this mulch around here, so you end up landing on the mulch, and then it's kind of like hitting out of sand, we found, but I don't really want to hit mulch into the green constantly, so I have to think about that. So I'm just kind of thinking to myself, possibly I wanted to build a little storage structure down here instead of the shipping container. Maybe move that to a different part of the property. Obviously I wouldn't want to hit golf balls into any type of building, so I just haven't thought all this out yet, but I could just shift this thing over, otherwise build the green more into this middle section of the plots and everything, and put grass around most of that instead of mulch, and I think it would probably work. I need to fix this thing today. Gonna get the aerator on it and do an overseed and things just from some of the damage that occurred last fall. So stay tuned if you'd like to see how to fix some of these little spots through here and just do a general fix on some of this. I think I'll start mowing it lower and see what it feels like to keep shooting into here. Had a lot of fun yesterday actually getting out here for the first time and being able to play on the course, if you will. I will be planning to use bent grass, but that's gonna have to be planted late summer, so I have a little time here to figure some things out and get it all sorted out. Thank you so much for watching today. We'll see you next time.